And we're live, hopefully for real this time. Sorry for previous problems with streaming. That's been
Yeah.
fixed, and hopefully people can actually see us for once. So today
Yeah,
we're
and
with,
sorry we didn't stream on Friday. That was a series of scheduling issues. The most prevalent of one being that I was sleeping.
Like this, yeah, we're sorry that the stream had to get delayed more than fucking Duke Nukem Forever. But unlike that game, we'll actually deliver.
and we'll actually have content that people will want to consume, probably. So anyways, today we got some very interesting stories, and we're going to be doing things a little different today. Instead of starting with a police brutality story, we're going to be talking about right-wing hate groups are recruiting video gamers. This was featured on NPR. There's an audio recording here, which is interesting. I don't know if it appeared on their radio show or not. But yeah, apparently right-wing hate groups are targeting gamers. It feels like Gamergate all over again. So anyways,
Gamergate 2, the Electric Boogaloo.
pretty much. So Azer, you want to lead us in?
Okay, right-wing hate groups are recruiting video gamers. John, a father of two in Colorado, had no idea what his 15-year-old son had gotten into until one night last year. Wow, last year. They're now just reporting on it. When John walked into his home office, we're not using the last name to protect his son's privacy. John saw a huge, large pile of papers face down next to his printer. He turned them over and found a copy of a notorious neo-Nazi propaganda book. It's the
Not going to
white cult.
specify what the book is.
Yeah, just leave it about as vague as the term democratic socialism. It's it's the white culture's in trouble. Oh, I think is that what it is? The white culture's in trouble. Oh wait, no, that's a quote. It's the white culture's in trouble. We're under attack by Jews, blacks, every other minority. It was scary. It was absolutely frightening to see that in my house.
Yeah,
I was
I'm
shaking.
looking up that quote on Google, and I'm not finding anything. So I think that may just not even be like a real thing.
What in the world is this, and why is it in my house? John confronted his son angrily. I was through the roof.
He was literally shaking because his son has political views that he doesn't agree with.
I was through the roof. I went back to my room. I was crying. I felt
This
like a
man
failure
starts
that.
crying after confronting his son about it. Oh my god. No, fucking what a bitch.
And then immediately after that, it says almost every teen plays video games. 97% of boys, according to the Pew the Research Center, and 83% of girls.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
right.
just
Of course. Video games did this because 90% of boys play games, just like how 100% of people take a shit 2 times a day.
yeah, and apparently later on in the article it says, yeah, it's exactly this way. John says that his son started hanging out with avowed white supremacists.
Did you know that if you have a bathroom in your house, that means you're a Nazi? Because 100% of all people take shits.
And and Nazis,
It would have been better
100%
if
of
he.
Nazis are people, which means 100% of Nazis who own houses also have bathrooms.
Which also means they must have an asshole to shit out of. Therefore, all neo-Nazis are assholes.
It's true. It's all true. The connection, all the connections were there. We were just too blind to see it. How could we have been so unaware? Good Lord, what has happened to what has happened to us?
When you look at the article, it just says he started hanging out with some people, but the article is named "Right-wing hate groups are recruiting video gamers." Like,
Mhm,
how is that
Yeah,
exactly?
it
mhm.
says increasingly these games are played online with strangers, and experts say that while it's by no means common online games and associated chat rooms, live streams and other channels have become one avenue for recruitment by right-wing extremist groups. Okay, so why are you blaming them then? Like
It does.
why are you writing this article? If it's not something that's common, if there's no correlation between right-wing extremist groups, there's no connection which explicitly is incentivizing this behavior, then and there's no actual. I mean, what do they mean by extremist?
Extremist is just
apparently-
this. Extremist is just this term that people like to use to create this negative adjective in normies' heads. Like, oh, he's an extremist. His views are so extreme, even though the adjective does nothing to describe what anyone actually thinks.
Based on that
Okay.
quote that the article gives, which I looked it up and I can't find any book that's actually from, but even with that, I mean, that's not necessarily extremist. It's really freaking racist, but I mean, to define an extremist activity, well, that's the first thing you got to do is define extremism, because that's a very political term.
Now, here's something else I think is very interesting, at least in terms of diminishing the credibility of this little bitch who calls himself a dad. Like, how the hell did he have managed to have sex with a woman? That's impressive. But
It was
anyways,
a feminist.
Well, you should continue. So reading more, it says, and violent first-person shooters, the mother says, are one place to find angry young men. She calls gaming culture one of the spaces of recruitment that must be addressed.
Yep.
Donovan,
Okay.
the mother,
That
says
makes sense.
that recruitment, even the planning of harassment campaigns, happens not only during in-game chat, but during live streaming of gameplay on platforms like Twitch and YouTube.
so this must
Oh
mean
boy,
that.
here we go.
So
Yeah,
here's
that's the reason this article exists. It's not because of right-wing extremism being prevalent. They even admitted it's not common. It's not a prevalent thing. No, the reason why they admitted it, the reason why they made this article is because they want more censorship on Discord.
pretty much. Now, one other thing I found that's interesting on this article is that John learned his son had been drawn into conversation with at least one group that the Southern Poverty Law Center called a Nazi terrorist organization. So
Doesn't sound like that has anything to do with gaming.
It doesn't. The whole point is just like it's a group that the Southern Poverty Law Center declared a right-wing extremist terrorist organization. Even though anyone who's ever disagreed with Southern Poverty Law Center has been considered to be an extremist. Like, wasn't Christina Hoff Sommers declared to be a terrorist by them at one point?
Cody fucking Wilson is labeled as a white nationalist extremist by the Southern Poverty Law Center.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah, look that up. I don't know if it's I may be thinking of the ADL. I mean, they're basically the same thing, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Southern Poverty Law Center. The Southern Poverty Law Center, I know for sure, has an entire section about anti-government groups and how, and explaining why they classify anti-government groups as hate groups, because 89 activity in anti-government groups increased 89% under Obama, and that's obviously because of his skin color.
Clearly.
So here's another quote in the article. It says, it's the lady speaking again. People will donate $14.88, which is a reference for a white nationalist slogan, as well as 88, which is most commonly found in prison tattoos for Hail Hitler.
Sounds like them just being a bunch of shitters. That's funny.
Okay, so now the article
they donate $14.88.
There's no way.
$14.88.
Okay,
there's no way that's not a meme.
Like, look at the third to last paragraph. It says, Picciolini, the Italian nigger, or the pasta nigger, compares the companies to landlords with disruptive tenants. Disrupting or damaging the building or threatening the other tenants, they would take action. Okay, I probably should have read before that because I have no idea what this has to do with anything.
It's stupid. Just I don't even think there's any context that allows that to make any sense whatsoever.
They'll start by dropping slurs about different races or religions and kind of test the waters. Sounds like, just a community of random shitters. I think they're talking about the Tryhard Legion, guys.
I'm pretty sure this describes literally any circle of male friends ever. They talk trash about each other constantly. In fact, if you're not talking trash about other people, it usually reflects poorly on you. It has nothing to do with any genuine hate. I mean, goodness sake, this isn't complicated. But, I mean, you just have to appreciate the level of beta male, not even beta male, gamma male, cuckish
quote
weakness
unquote male.
that this alleged male had for his son. That he decided to confront him about it. And
Yeah.
it's not the son that went to his room crying. It was the father, the alleged father.
After angrily going in to confront his son for having a different opinion than him. I don't even need to look at this guy and I can just picture what he looks like. He's one of those guys, he has like a freaking one of those comb overs where like it's obvious he actually has a full head of hair, but it's like short on one side and he's got it combed over to the other side. He's wearing a ski hat, he's got skinny jeans, and he's got a flannel on.
You mean
He's one of those guys. I can tell just by how he's describing himself.
Lady? You mean that dude?
Yeah, like that guy. That's what this guy looks like.
I imagine him to look at one of two ways. Either he's got a razor sharp chin, and his profile has his chin completely sunk into his neck, and he like probably weighs 90 pounds, or he's 250 pounds and has soy face.
Yeah, he's one of those guys for sure. Like, if you were to go to his social media page, I guarantee you all of his pictures, he would be doing that fucking soy face. In all of them.
All of them. And he was like, here's what you do when you're a father and you find your son printing out books for things that he disagrees with. You calmly ask them about it, and you initiate a discussion. Now that can be a fantastic point of view for or a point of discussion, a chance to really nurture that relationship between father and son, or daughter, whoever it is. And
so you say, that's my boy.
Well, I mean, if they're doing something you agree with, sure. But even if it's something that you disagree with, you can still have a very good discussion about it. And even if you continue to have a disagreement, that's perfectly fine. People have disagreements all the time. I mean, if I had my son printing out, I don't know, the Communist Manifesto, I was saying this earlier, I would sit him down and just be like, hey, let's talk about this. And I'm hoping that we would have an interesting discussion. It may turn out that, the son's printing it out because he disagrees with it, but wants to be able to read through it because he wants to understand an idea that he disagrees with. In which case, I would just go ahead and say, that's my boy. If he agrees with it and think that there's a lot of things that may be of merit in that book, or are of merit, then I'd be happy to have a discussion with him about it, calmly, rationally, and, don't be a little bitch and go to your room crying.
But yeah, apparently NPR, they're triggered over YouTube, so, I mean, let's make them even more triggered real quick.
The goddamn niggers are the scum of the earth! It's your favorite racist.
Boom, there goes the stream. It's demonetized now. It wasn't monetized to begin with. Fucking joke on you, YouTube.
Joke's on you. I don't even make money from this.
Joke's on them. Out of curiosity, how many?
Hey, do you still have do you still have a strike on your channel? Like, can you enable monetization so we can actually start getting some fucking super chats going?
I actually tried enabling it. They haven't gotten back to me on to whether or not it's enabled or not.
They're not going.
They're not gonna. There's no chance.
No way.
But yeah, that strike's gone. So yeah, we should be okay. I mean, the fact that we're streaming at all means that the strike's gone.
All right.
I would love to get super chats enabled though. That would be fantastic.
Evolution and erosion's faster than that.
Out of curiosity, how many CIA niggers did you guys run over today?
I ran over 1,488 of them.
Well, that's a lot better than you usually do. Good work. So, anyways, should we move on to the next story, or should we do we have more to say here?
I don't think there's any more to say about that pathetic just sack of human shit.
Yeah, well, I got one other thing. I mean, the article pretty much refutes itself when it says like 97% of boys, which is all of them. At least I'm pretty sure this is only in the United States, but 97%, that's all of them. You're talking about an area that's so broad, and the odds of encountering someone who's even sympathetic to those ideas is so marginal that I mean, like, you might as
Yeah,
well just ban talking.
the article even literally said that it's not a common interaction on these games. It's because, you know, there's nothing inherent in gaming or Discord or any of these outlets which attracts people like that. If people like that are going to come to them, they're going to come to them. But there's nothing you can do about that. I mean, if you freaking censor those websites, then they'll find a different means of communicating.
Mhm.
What
And
if
that's
like they have like a video clip of like one of the interactions, and it's just like a video clip of VR chat? It's just like a bunch of like spurs.
they present a fucking an example of what they're talking about, and then they link a Bathrobe Dwayne stream.
You know what's going to happen is that if the progressives get their way, Bathrobe Dwayne's going to be arrested for being a giant racist for no
Dude,
fault of his own.
yeah, that would suck so much.
It really would. Now, I do
And
have, sorry to interrupt, I do have one last thing I want to say about this, and that is the reason why his son of this alleged man is disagreeing with his father so much and looking up ideas that he probably personally dislikes and definitely has communicated this to his son is because his son doesn't respect you, you freaking nobody.
dude, I'm just listening to him talk about what happened. I don't respect him. I could only imagine what his son, who has to live with him every day, fucking how he feels about him.
I'm
I think maybe his son just became a Nazi because he's so much of a fucking pussy.
probably. I mean, good work, dads.
He just wanted to distance himself so much from his dad that he fucking became a Nazi just because he knows his dad wouldn't approve of it.
Wouldn't surprise me. So, anyways, on to the next story. Family sues for $25 million after cops execute unarmed accountant, shooting him in the back of the head.
Jeez.
Yeah.
It really does get worse. I mean, honestly, every time we cover one of these fucking police brutality stories, and I'm just sort of speechless about it because I'm at the point where it seems as if it's been normalized. Something comes along and it makes it even worse. It gets even worse somehow.
Yeah, that's kind
You
of
know, I
how
wonder how many more people die from police than like school shooters. Can someone like look that up for me? Like, I'm actually pretty curious now.
yeah, let's look up the
Police officers feel threatened, so they execute an entire school and throw their bodies in a mass grave.
No, they burn them like those people did with the kittens.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Police officers feel threatened, so police officer pulls out RPG and blows up somebody in their car.
You know it's
But
inevitable. Let's see
that
here.
happens.
It says I looked up a Washington Post article, so
Oh
take
boy.
it with a grain of salt. That's it's like 1,123 people were killed in mass shootings, not just school shootings, but mass shootings. I don't know what percentage of I don't know how long it's been, or like
What was the figure you gave?
1,123, and I'm not sure if that's like from Columbine until now, but
Oh well.
yeah, it's just
Because
like this.
per year, it's like in the low double digits. So
Oh, here it is. It's actually counting shootings from 1966 onward.
yeah, okay.
So, I mean, divide that. It's like 1,123 by 650, roughly. You're going to get something around. Can someone do that math real quick?
Assuming there are people in chat.
Or,
Yeah,
one of
give me
you.
the numbers again, real quick.
1,123 from, let's round it to 50. So 1,123 divided by 50.
Okay.
goodness, this rocket I'm using sucks so bad.
22.46. So 22.
22 people per year are killed by mass shootings. Now, naturally, this is a terrible number. This should not happen, and it's absolutely horrible when these people die for the dumbest of reasons because someone wants to commit suicide by cop. This should not be happening. But the fact of the matter is that's like, I think, can someone pull up the numbers for a number of people killed by cops every year? Because I remember reading a story a few days ago, and it's like,
it's like 775, I think.
well, there you go.
This year.
So,
Well, there you go. You have vastly more people killed by cops every year than in mass shootings. Not just school shootings, mass shootings. And I would not be surprised at all if it's like they count the mass shootings where a gun was used on multiple people and nobody actually died.
Or like that one time when they counted somebody bringing a BB gun to school as a mass shooting.
what?
Yeah. The number compiled by that Every Town for Gun Safety actually did that.
I will never let Every Town for Gun Safety forget the fact that they predicted the Parkland shooting an hour and a half before it happened.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't let them forget that either. I'm never gonna let them forget the fact that they took my fucking YouTube channel down for exposing that.
Fucking Daniel Bohr.
It's still up on Minds. If anyone wants to see the video, I have it mirrored on Minds. I should actually put it up on BitChute now that I think about it.
Yeah, definitely.
But,
and it is a fantastic video, by the way. Arguably one of your best.
Oh, thanks. But yeah, YouTube will not let me put that up there. If I do, it'll get taken down pretty much immediately. That's why I got fucking banned the first time, because I made that video exposing that.
Mm-hmm. So this incident in particular of the one among the 700 people who are going to be killed by police today, I think 20 of which are in Las Vegas alone, by the way. You have a person in Fairfax County, Virginia, which I actually used to live in Loudoun County, Virginia, which is like right next to it. So this is a little spooky for me. Anyways, earlier this year, a dash cam footage was released that shows police shooting and killing an unarmed man they claim to be responsible for a hit and run. However, the man was actually the victim of a traffic accident, and the video shows that he then became the victim of murder by police. After being tight-lipped for nearly a year on the incident, the police report has finally been released, showing that the victim was unarmed. Now the taxpayers could be held liable to the tune of $25 million.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, oh, here's something spooky on multiple levels, actually. Bihan Gaishar, something Indian, 25, died 10 days after he was shot in the head 4 times by U.S. Park Police, according to the family.
How'd he not die right away? Damn, that's kind of impressive.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, 10 days after he was... Like, first off, why would they shoot him in the head 4 times? Second, how did he survive for 10 days after being shot in the head 4 times? That's amazing.
Being shot in the head 1 time.
Did you hear about, like, that reminds me, like, there was actually, I guess, a story, like, early 1910s, something like that, like, some Russian guy who was, like, trying to be, like, assassinated or, like, killed. Like, they tried poisoning him with, like, cyanide cakes. That doesn't work. So then they try shooting him. He survives the shot. Then they chase him down. He gets beaten.
Yeah, Rasputin. That's the guy you're talking about. Rasputin.
Yeah, Rasputin. Yeah, like that dude, like, was like a fucking tank. Like, holy shit.
The guy, like, would not die. And, yeah, I mean, like, it's...
They're drowning to kill him.
At what point do you shoot... At what point is it a good idea to shoot someone in the back of the head, or shoot someone in the head 4 times? Like, do you fear for your life? Are police such pussies that they fear for their life so much that they need to shoot someone in the head 4 times to make sure they're dead? I mean, clearly, if you're fighting Rasputin, yeah.
Yeah, it's like we've gone over before. They're just looking for reasons to kill people so they get overtime.
Oh, yeah.
Rasputin.
So apparently this happened nearly a year ago now, where the guy, the victim, I don't want to say his name because I can't pronounce it, was rear-ended by an Uber driver, and
let me
the
try
Uber driver
looking up
left the
the name.
scene, or rather, he left the scene after he was hit, and police pulled him over, and came at him with weapons drawn. Now you know when police are hyped up and they're expecting a confrontation, that they're going to create the confrontations they're expecting.
Hey,
I'm
where's
sorry,
that
but
article?
before we go on, you have to pull up that one picture
I already
that I
did.
put in.
It's already on. It's just that I haven't showed it yet.
You know which one? Okay, so you have to pull that up though. That picture is fucking. This is some real like cringe anarchy shit here. You have to see this.
Well, we'll show it after we're done with this article, but I have it already on a tab, so I just need to click on the tab to show it.
Okay, yeah, this is fucking great. You guys got to see this.
It's amazing. So, anyways, yeah. Now, the good news is that the police are being held to account for once, and the department is being sued to the tune of $25 million. But I mean, this article does imply actually something even more insidious about that, in the sense that because it's the government that's being sued, this isn't government money that's going to be given to them for $25 million. It's going to be taxpayers. Basically, they're going to be awarded stolen money, which, I mean, creates a very interesting moral conundrum, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
So, like, what do you do about should they sue for that stolen money? Or should they accept it if they do win, which they definitely should?
Well, in either way, you're kind of screwed. So it's like, well, not
Well,
screwed.
the
but
government
I-
obtained the money illegitimately, but you obtained it legitimately through a court, so through arbitration.
It's a arbitration, but illegitimate arbitration because it is still done through the government, which really does suggest a
Well,
very strong conflict of
yeah,
interest, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, that's going to be more than likely the reason. Like, were they actually awarded 25 million yet, or is it just
No,
being taken to trial?
it's being taken to trial. They haven't.
Yeah, so they're probably not going to win their case because, yeah, the government has a pretty long history of ruling in its own favor despite the evidence, and that's self-evident as to why they do that. The state owns both the courts and the police, so there's a conflict of interest. But also, yeah, that to answer that ethical conundrum, well, it's unethical that the state took that taxpayer money, but because you're taking the state to arbitration for it, you rightfully can obtain that 25 million because you're obtaining it because the state wronged you.
Oh yeah, well, that just actually reminded me of another story I saw a few weeks ago. I was able to find it again just now. This one, if that story didn't make your blood boiling,
I mean, hold on, real quick. I wasn't finished.
sure.
That would actually be holding the state to a different standard to not be able to sue the state for wronging you in an arbitration service, because you would be assigning the standard essentially that the state can't be sued, but a regular person or service could. That would be assigning supernatural powers to the state.
Well, I mean, for a lot of people, the state is God. So, yeah, but anyways, here's this story that this reminds me of. A man was shot and killed by police in Florida. The jury gave his family $4.
Florida,
It's Florida, but still, like,
not Florida man.
Yeah, it's really sad, but I mean that just sounds like something Florida would do.
that's if that previous story didn't make your blood boiling, this one is absolutely just pissing me off. I know it's old news,
Yeah.
but still, it's like $4. Come on, that's just an insult. You assholes.
Now we can go get a Big Mac. Like, did they think they would be happy about that? Pa's gone, but at least we can go buy a Big Mac now.
And how much money are they out during the for the lawsuit, even having to get through that? How much money was lost in opportunity costs from not being able to go to work?
Oh yeah, and now one of the people bringing income into the house is dead, so now they're out, in income.
Yeah. This is just absolutely disgusting. There is no justification for the state's continued existence.
It's been around longer than Pat Robertson, and much like him, it just needs to go away.
Well, I mean, people ask me all the time about, in terms of restorative justice, how much is a human life worth? And fundamentally, I can't possibly answer that because I don't know.
It's not possible to answer that question because it's subjective, and I don't mean like the morality or ethics behind it is subjective. I mean each person is worth something different.
Mhm.
What their contributions are, it's
Yeah.
completely subjective to the individual. So there's not an answer to that question.
Well, there is one thing I can answer definitively about how much a human life is worth. It's worth more than $4. Anyways, let's go to the next story. This one is won't get your. It kind of might piss you off, but it's also absolutely freaking hilarious. A state representative.
First, you gotta show that meme. I want the stream to see this.
Right, yeah, my post pulled it up. Superheroes. Real superheroes.
And they got this. Oh my god. I mean, they got the Justice League, but. Man. Oh my god.
So,
fucking picture. The real superheroes. I'm a real superhero because I pressed a button that's designed to make me feel like I'm important.
Yay!
yeah, so that
Which
like
is-
made me think when I saw that picture. Like I thought of like Sargon, because in one video he was like, I don't like Batman because with all that money he has, he could just spend it on like better police. I'm just thinking, I think Batman does a better job than the entire police force.
Have you seen the police in Gotham City? Batman basically is their police department.
Basically.
I hope like when we do get achieve anarchy, we can have Doom Guy be our security.
I'd be okay with that. I mean, but there's
Well,
also one thing that's...
Yeah, that's something people actually start doing. You can create post-humans in a lab. I wouldn't be surprised if security firms started just creating just armies of not necessarily Doom Marines, but people that fit that characteristic.
Literally Space Marines.
Doom Guy security. Oh my goodness, I would actually pay for that.
That would be amazing. But back to the whole superheroes, real superheroes thing that I think is absolutely hilarious. Is like, aren't there several continuities in the DC universe where Lex Luthor becomes the president?
Yeah, there's one. There's well, it's not the that's not a there may be separate ones, but the one in particular, which is the most interesting, is just the original Justice League series. And there's an episode of that, I can't remember the title right now, but it's where in an alternate reality, Lex Luthor becomes the president, and he basically threatens that he's just going to launch all the nuclear codes. So Superman kills him, and then the Justice League becomes the Justice Lords. So, I mean, that single episode was basically, I couldn't actually believe that was actually a real, like, animation that was on TV, because that was basically just a complete fucking thrash to the idea of government. Because it's exactly what happened. I'd have to actually like watch it again specifically, but I know that it basically it hit on the idea that the government's a monopoly on arbitration, and since Lex Luthor was the president, nothing would happen to him.
Well, it's not only that, but in that timeline, Lex Luthor actually killed the Flash, which is largely what caused the Justice Lords to become it's basically the Injustice storyline, or rather the OG Injustice storyline. If you guys are familiar with Injustice: Gods Among Us, the superhero fighting game. So
and I gotta be honest, I'm not necessarily too familiar with the DC universe or all the expanded universes within it, but I saw that episode of the Justice League and I thought I couldn't actually believe that was on television, given the message behind it. You'd think that like the production company or whatever wouldn't allow that to be aired.
yeah, I remember one part in that episode where you have a guy yelling at a waiter and he just gets arrested. That's what actually happens. It's pretty it's pretty sick, and it's safe to say, yeah, a lot of good voting, did you? Oh, hey, look, Brainiac's invading Earth. Let's just vote him away. That'll totally work this time, I promise.
And I remember that one episode where Superman jumps from a building and then he shouts, "I'm gay!" Okay, I thought that'd be funny. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
But yeah, I see this. Yeah, I saw that meme and I was reminded of two things. One, I'm pretty sure that's a post that would fit in on Cringe Anarchy. But also, that's the other thing it reminded me of is the Injustice storyline, because that's essentially exactly what it tackles, is voting and government and how those concepts are completely illegitimate. So that meme, whoever made that's clearly not too familiar with the Justice League.
Well, we were talking about this before, at least on the Discord chat, and I was asking, like, was that made by a statist or an anarchist trying to mock statists?
Yeah, and I actually looked it up, and no, this guy's a political cartoonist who works with The Star, which it's a magazine. And interestingly enough, for a mainstream cartoonist, he's actually a Republican. So he's a Republican statist. But if looking at this meme, you'd be forgiven in thinking that he was a Democrat. But that sort of proves our point that both of the parties are exactly the same. But I digress. Yeah. I thought that was interesting because it looks like something that one of those cartoonists, like calling Trump a racist or whatever, would make.
Mr. Asian 47, just look up Justice Lords. You'll be able to find that episode pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'll look up the name of the episode I'm referring to now.
I think it's like For a Better Day or something like that. But anyways, I think we should move on to the next topic. This is just hilarious. State representatives outline.
The episode is called A Better World, and there's two parts to it.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, like the first Justice League animated series used two-parter episodes for most of its things. I think it was only like Justice League Unlimited that really started doing single-parters. But anyways, state representatives outline for killing non-believers in holy war is referred to FBI.
That is some Florida man shit, but I looked at this story and he's not from Florida. He's actually from Washington. So
Washington State. So
yeah, Washington State, not Washington D.C.
Mr. Agent 47, that scene where Batman jumped over the building, said "I'm gay" was in Harry Potter, the Chamber of Secretions. Are you gonna go watch it?
What the hell? What the hell is that?
I don't know. I thought it would be a good way to redeem myself because what I said was fucking cringy. I thought it would be like really funny, but well, I did it.
Don't worry about redeeming yourself. The important part is that you try.
The good thing, I mean, the thing is that actually sounds like something Florida man would do. Like this, back to this story. A politician from Florida wages a holy war to purge the country of the SJWs.
Oh my goodness.
Launches a literal fucking crusade.
Deus Vult. I'm just saying,
well-
if we're gonna be launching a crusade, we should be very deliberate about our targets. Liberate Constantinople and give it back to the Eastern Orthodox Church. That's what our crusade is going to be about.
I do like the Florida Man article this week.
Well,
Don't worry,
we'll
we'll get to that when
get to that.
I was reading this and I honestly didn't even make it past the headline. Like I read like I read like a paragraph in, but I was just laughing hysterically the first time I saw it because I could just see a Florida man doing that, and I just sort of picture it in my head where like he's declaring holy war and it's a literal fucking crusade happens in the U.S.
So his demands include stop all abortions, no same-sex marriage, no idolatry or occultism, status, no communism, and must obey biblical law. If the rest of the country refuses to yield to these terms, the document advocates a final solution: kill all males.
Does he call it a final solution?
A final solution. Well, that's the
He calls
articles.
it a final solution.
Hold on a second. It doesn't.
No
It
way.
says it's the article saying final solution. Not. It doesn't quote the
Okay.
document, but it does suggest that his final solution, if the country doesn't yield, is that they're just going to kill half the country.
So, the final solution then.
Basically. Under the
It would
things
be-
for. Or you were going to say something?
It would be hilarious if if he called it the fine-ol solution, like fine-ol, the two separate words, like ol being short for old, fine-ol solution.
Under the things for a holy army, she remembers to include circumcision/saved after religious worship prayer. So you're only allowed to participate if you got.
This guy is being serious.
I don't know. That's the thing.
This guy is an ANCAP shit poster. Is running for office to make fun of politicians. I'm calling it.
I hope so. That would just make my decade.
Circumcised fucking holy soldiers. Oh my god.
Now, apparently, this was leaked to the press by a libertarian activist, which only proves that libertarians get stuff done. And he referred to it as theocratic bullcrap.
Well, I mean, it is if they're being serious.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying, like, when I say it's a final solution, I'm just being a fucking shit poster, but no, like, seriously. I'm just not taking this seriously because there's no way that this is actually going to happen, but it is, like, this is basically just the end of statism right here. Something similar to this. It may not be theocracy, but the state becoming ever more totalitarian so that it can try and stimulate its currency to try and keep its head above water.
Yeah, this whole thing is just like, I mean, I don't know if we're doing what Gandhi says that those people in power would do. Like, it goes like, first they ignore you, then they mock you, and then they fight you, and then you win. I don't know if we are the ones who are doing the mocking, but this is just freaking hilarious.
It's the emphasis on forced circumcision that makes me think it's a meme. That just sounds like something one of those like groups making fun of fucking MRAs would make.
But don't forget, you guys, the totalitarianism doesn't exclusively come from the Democrat Party or progressives. It can come from anywhere. As long as we have a monopoly on arbitration, as long as that give themselves the monopoly on violence, you're always going to attract people like this with their psychotic ambitions for a genocidal crusade. So anyways, should we move on to the next story?
Lysander Spooner!
Okay, let's talk about Lysander Spooner. Let's go!
Yeah, I've been getting asked about this since it dropped on Friday. Friday, just in general, was a fucking amazing day, but, I mean, it's for other reasons. But, yeah, so on Friday, two essays which were written by Lysander Spooner in 1876 and 1877 which were lost for the last 140 years, were found and published. The title of both of them are What is Money and Financial Imposters, which I think that's really fascinating because Spooner didn't really write much about economics at all. He wrote one pamphlet called Poverty and Its Illegal Causes, where he didn't really discuss his ideas for an economy, but he just explained basically how the state's fucking everything up and why it's unjustified. So, but no, these pamphlets are actually about economics, and I finished one of them, which was Financial Imposters, and Spooner was freaking way more ahead of his time than I think even we previously gave him credit for, because it's really fascinating. He basically, in Financial Imposters, is describing agorism, but in the 19th century. He described an effective political action for fighting the state, because that's something Spooner is pretty famous for, is rejecting voting as illegitimate and, rejecting the social contract. So, no, his idea for getting rid of the state is actually explained in this pamphlet. And basically what he proposed is that people should start a series of private banks and issue their own currencies backed by their own credit. And those currencies are actually produced, so they're affected by the laws of supply and demand. They're not fiat and they're not reserve currencies, and their utility, like what actually gives them value, is regulated by competition between these banks. So it's not like encryption. He didn't describe cryptocurrencies or counter economic networks, but essentially, like, if somebody from the 19th century were to try and comprehend Konkin, this would essentially be it.
Very interesting. Now, it's basic question: how did this stuff get lost in the first place? Was it just like something that he wrote about and kind of just forgot about? Didn't really submit?
Well, it was actually serialized in an old magazine called The New Age, which that's how it got lost, because that's an extremely obscure publication. And the only reason that we ever actually knew about it to begin with was because in Spooner's obituary called Our Nestor Taken, written by Benjamin Tucker, Tucker explicitly mentioned these two essays by name, but nobody actually had them or knew about them, so they were lost essays, lost media. And for the last 100 years, everyone's assumed they were lost because Benjamin Tucker ran a bookstore in New York, and the bookstore burnt down, and everyone and historians generally thought that those two essays were there, but no, it turns out they were actually in a few issues of The New Age, and it was spread out across a couple of different volumes or editions of The New Age, which is already an extremely rare publication. So it's, understandable why it took people 140 years to find these essays. But yeah, that's basically the story behind it.
Ooh.
It's always interesting when people find something that's been lost for a very long time.
But another thing which I absolutely love about this is that, there's sort of a mini debate about Lysander Spooner, because he's one of those philosophers which nobody really has any strong disagreements with, and that's because you can't really disagree with him. He makes his arguments so firmly, so concretely, and so in such an easy manner to understand. It presents the counterpoint, refutes the counterpoint, and explains why his point's reasonable, explains it from a scientific perspective. Is just, he is a god tier philosopher, I'm serious. But so nobody actually wants to reject him. So because of that, collectivists tried to claim that he was a socialist. And well, I mean, even with his previously known work, you could infer pretty easily that he wasn't. You know, with his strong emphasis on a free society, you know, only having voluntary associations and contractual agreements, and coercion being absolutely impossible to justify, and how the public and the as an entity doesn't exist, so group rights are a fiction.
It doesn't sound like any idea that rejects private property completely would be at all
No,
compatible with anything he would
in
support.
one of these essays, I think it's "What is Money?" I didn't really see it in Financial Imposters, but people are talking about it in some circles, and he explicitly defended private property in those terms in "What is Money?" presumably. So yeah, that debate settled. He was a voluntarist, an early voluntarist.
We're gonna bring him back one day, and it will
And
be
Star Wars.
Yeah.
glorious.
And he was an agorist before agorism was even a thing. 100 years before it was even a thing, actually.
Oof.
And
So,
Star Wars Episode 5
But that's
to
the
8
thing.
right back
Could
in
you
the
imagine? You know, it's mainly because, I mean, libertarianism mainly picked up, like, most of the principles, like libertarianism is circled around today, were actually first articulated by Spooner. Natural law, the science of justice, being basically the very first actual articulation of the non-aggression principle, but he described it as natural law. Um, you know, considering that most of libertarianism came from ideas which Spooner had, or were similar to Spooner's. Could you imagine if Economic Imposters wasn't lost media and the libertarian movement was actually centered around counter economics from the beginning? You probably are living in a stateless society, in all seriousness.
well, better late than never. Quite frankly, I think we need that now more than ever. I mean, I've already did a video about how the state will not survive the counter economy.
I've made several, but yeah, my point is it actually, you know, I mean, it's fascinating to see that Spooner was even more brilliant than we'd already previously thought he was. But, you know, if this hadn't been lost media, then the state would more than likely already not exist.
There's a
Oh.
guy in the chat that says the state is the biggest thought in existence.
It's not even a thought, because, you know, thoughts are like a tease that you wouldn't want the state.
Pretty much.
I mean, it's like one of those people that try to tease you, but you're just like repulsed by them.
The state is there's like a scene from Family Guy. I'm trying to remember what cartoon this is from, but it's like there's like a girl like, oh, I'm so helpless and alone. No, it's American Dad.
Yeah.
Roger
Yeah.
dressed up as a girl, like, to go to the office to get sexually assaulted, and she's like, I'm so helpless. Won't somebody please sexually assault me? That's the state. That's the state right there.
I can believe that. So, anyways, let's go to our last story.
Oh.
You guys know
Okay.
what's going on here. Florida
Okay.
Florida man solicited sex for speed bumps. Ethic panels finds.
Yeah, don't forget that politicians in Florida are still Florida men, so that rule still applies to them.
Well, I mean, just remember that Florida man actually tried to run for president of the United States in 2016 as a Republican. So
Yeah.
what does
Well, I
that
mean,
tell you?
that's just the general rule. I mean, this is more proof of people who are stuck in the cult of the omnipotent state that politicians are just people, and that artificial standard that you set them to is complete bullshit.
Mhm.
Because yeah, politicians in Florida are just like any other Florida man.
Remember, it's not Florida man, it's Florida men.
Hopefully.
No. In Florida, there's just one man, and he plays a couple million different identities.
At the same time, he's just that fast.
He sounds like he's the like biggest case of multiple personality disorder, if that's
Yeah.
what you're saying.
Well, I mean,
saying.
what's gonna happen is that I don't know, Marvel or DC, they're going to realize that Florida Man is an absolutely hilarious meme, and so they're going to make that into an actual superhero, one who's vastly more powerful than Superman, probably even more powerful than the Sentry, and bonus points for anyone who gets that reference. He's he's all powerful, but completely and utterly insane, and is only able to defeat the villains, quote unquote villains, using some insane over the top schemes that only Deadpool would be able to understand.
That remember that. I'm sorry to cut you off, but remember that telethon that I was talking about in Discord last night?
I don't think I do, actually.
It's live right now. I was talking about it because they're taking call-ins, like for people to call up and basically saying I'm voting Democrat on Comedy Central. It's being hosted, and so I was talking with a few people in there to call in and give them try-hard calls.
Oh hi, I'm voting nigger.
It's live too. That's the funny part. It's live on Comedy Central, so if you do that, it's actually gonna get on air.
You tried calling them?
Everyone's gonna fucking see it.
Everybody, you know what to do.
It's on their YouTube channel right now. You could find the phone number. I would be willing to bet. But yeah, there's one. Like I want somebody to do this. Because Amy Schumer is one of the hosts of the telethon.
Oh yeah.
One of you guys needs to call in. Find that clip like a couple years back where she makes that joke. I used to have sex with Mexicans, but now I only do consensual. You just take that soundbite, and then when she picks up the phone, play the soundbite through the phone. Play that.
My vagina.
Like you just get a barrage of people like spamming the DuckTales theme. Like
one of the jokes that I came up with. I hope somebody calls up with this because it's some pretty fucking great grade A material. Call in and say, "Hey, I'm voting Democrat because we need more Jim Crow laws."
Me and my boy Bubba are voting Democrat because we don't like them niggers. You guys,
I just gotta say really quickly that we do need to fund Planned Parenthood because the black population is starting to rise up, and we can't allow that. So we need to make sure that Planned Parenthood's funded.
Hi, I'm voting Democrat because Margaret Sanger's cause for why she founded Planned Parenthood is extremely important to me. And naturally, they're going to ask. They might ask for elaboration. It's like, well, we got to kill the damn niggers.
Oh my God, let's hope they do that.
I'm going to vote Democrat because we need more of them sand niggers. So please open them borders.
This stream is gonna get fucking taken down if we keep doing it.
Well, the stream's almost over anyway. I'm gonna vote Democrat because Orange Man bad.
Yeah, somebody call up and say that. I'm voting Democrat. Say it in the most flat, buzzy voice too. I am voting Democrat because Orange Man bad.
Well, in that case, all we need to do is just, you don't need to do anything, though. Just call up and talk normally.
Yeah. That's actually really depressing because I said that and I realized as I was trying to imitate an NPC that other than the cadence, that doesn't sound much different from how I actually talk.
Pretty much. It's unfortunate, but true. But yeah, everybody who's watching the stream right now, you know what to do. Actually, while we're here, let's try to pull up the. Oh no, that's the wrong thing.
Yeah, let's do it live. What the last thing we do on the stream is we call up that telethon.
All right. Well, let's see if we can't find. Let's see.
No. Call the telethon and like, okay, we should decide what to say first. Like, put it on speaker so we can hear it.
Okay, here it is. The telethon for America. Oh, they're getting downvoted to hell.
Oh shit! So we're not the first ones to think of this, dude. Do it.
We gotta find the.
Don't tell me. Are you still doing the telethon thing?
We're doing the telethon thing. Yes, we are.
All right, so we need to find the phone number.
Isn't it listed on the video?
I'm looking at the description right now. I don't see any numbers at all.
Okay, I'll look it up real quick. Make sure we're still live. I want to make sure that we can clip this.
All right, I'm turning down the audio, at least my feed a bit.
We gotta do the Planned Parenthood one.
These people, I'm just looking at these people and they are so repulsive. I mean, just like you're on stream and you can't get, I don't know, more good-looking people on.
Amy Schumer, I don't know why they use her. She fucking looks like a Cabbage Patch Kid.
She totally does.
Before the Constitution.
Yes.
Out of your misery now. Let's go to a tape, please. What the hell was that, you guys? Thank God.
Chat is disabled for this live stream. Oh, they're getting killed.
Dude, Watch Mojo. Watch Mojo is hosting the live stream. What the fuck?
Oh my god.
Why?
They disabled the chat. Oh my god.
They're getting killed right now.
Wait, dude, where's the link? Like,
What'd they do?
Yeah, I did. I'll take it.
They disabled the fucking chat for the live stream.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yep, sold. I love it.
And you can't even play back in the video either.
That was a sneeze. Whatever.
Oh, you can't. No, you can't at all. What happens if I pause it? Oh yeah, the pause works.
Please, one of you link me. Give me the link in Discord so I can watch it.
Dude, how do you get the fucking number? Why would they make a telethon if they're gonna make it hard to find the number to call in?
The number of
It's almost as if they want to control who calls.
I'm watching this right now, and
Last time I went to vote, I stubbed my toe on the way.
the damn,
Not really.
what is it? I can't brain right now. Yeah, you can't scroll back. There's no chat to look through. And the number of dislikes is increasing. When I started this video, it was like 155 likes, 143 dislikes. And now it's like 156 likes, 155 dislikes. They are
It's
even.
50-50. It's exactly 50-50 right now. It's 156 likes and 156 dislikes.
Oh great, it better turn into the next Infinite Warfare.
It's probably going to. Well, this is a live stream, so I don't think it really matters. But
oh, it's starting again. It's starting again. I have it muted right now, but like somebody's going up on stage. Generic Mexican celebrity.
Yay! So yeah, we need to find.
We
need to find this.
Oh, damn it!
We need to find if anyone in the chat is able to find the number, please post it in chat because you will be a hero.
Yes.
I'm looking for the number right now.
Become mod in Filthy's server, Discord server.
Oh my god, I just got an idea.
What did you do?
Give me a copy pasta, and I will use the last of my strength to read it in my glorious voice.
Because if you go on too long, they'll fucking cut you off. It's a telethon, so the point is to call up and say something short, and then I'm voting Democrat. That's basically what they want you to do.
Well,
So
give me the most absurd thing to say, and I'll say it.
I want somebody to call up and say something like, "I'm voting Democrat because I want Jim Crow laws."
No, I seriously think the one with the
Oh.
Planned Parenthood's the fucking best. Like, we need to fund
Yes.
Parenthood because there's a rise in black population.
Yeah, we need to fund Planned Parenthood to keep the black population down.
Orange man, bad.
They're putting my kids in school at a competitive disadvantage, you know?
Oh.
How dare they?
We need to fund Planned Parenthood because the Japanese population, the 2 nukes were not enough.
Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and contribute my own dislike to this, even though I have like freaking 3 accounts.
I already did that.
Well, I've done it now. You
I don't
can't
even
stop
have
me.
the-
And it's now 164 to 160. I think we just got our stream to raid these guys.
They doing card tricks?
Yes.
They're doing card tricks on
the backs of these cards are written
a nationally broadcasted telethon to vote.
You know, I think they can make fun of themselves quite better than we can. Holy shit.
The state can't die faster.
Yeah.
Piss Angel.
Fucking card tricks? Really?
We have my dog died.
Oh my god.
It won't make a difference. We have I don't know how. But Jade, you chose the Jack of Hearts.
I wonder when Shay will finally crash harder than Paul Walker. I'm still waiting for it.
Turn it over, show it to the
They all
camera.
are.
Oh, dude, they're talking about reasons not to vote.
Well,
That's what the card trick is.
yeah. And Marek, spoiler alert, she picked the card that says she voted. Wow. It totally wasn't set up in advance.
Yeah, you notice how they never actually present reasons why you shouldn't vote, or like the actual arguments against voting or electoral systems.
I mean, that's pretty obviously self-explanatory.
I've never seen any piece of media actually like explain how democracy or electoral systems are coercive, or explain exactly why your vote, like, statistically, demonstrably does not matter.
Yeah.
They just they make up reasons like won't make a difference, or they'll say that, but they won't explain why. They make it sound like it's just rhetoric, or
And racial violence.
So
yeah,
also-
or they think people who don't vote are just busy. You know, it could be that you know, a large majority of the population just are not interested.
Yeah, so have you seen that one cringy video that Jello Apocalypse posted?
No.
About what?
About voting.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, that
Yeah,
reminds me.
it's-
I've done enough. I've done enough videos on voting for the last month, so I'm not going to touch that.
I think I'll touch something.
Ah.
But
I've done like in the last 3 weeks, I've done like 3 videos on voting. I've already done enough.
Yeah.
yeah,
so-
don't worry. I don't know if I'll be able to do something because I don't have any sort
I'm
of script
still-
even started. But anyways, I think we should at
But-
least mention now, like what we're gonna do in the future. So we're gonna be doing another stream tomorrow. Actually, we're going to be doing sort of live election coverage, and by election coverage, we'll be completely just making fun and mocking all the other election coverage streams about how important voting is and how important this is to our democracy.
Yeah,
I
we're
hope to
doing,
God that my
tomorrow
snot-induced misery will be over by then.
Dude, it's gonna be so fucking funny. Tomorrow night, it's gonna be great.
Oh,
Yes, it is.
just remember to bring your booze. I'm not going to because I don't drink.
There are few experiences like watching the 2016 election take place. It was
I'll hit up my friend.
beautiful.
I'll hit up my friend. I'll try and I'll hit up my friend. I'll try and get myself some X.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I'll fucking tell some people to stay the fuck awake and join the damn stream.
This will just be like absolutely hilarious.
I can't wait for like actual like presidential election so I can watch more people spurg out.
Oh, the
Oh, man.
2020 election cycle is going to be absolutely freaking hilarious. You were just going to see, like, if you think the meme wars from 2016 were spectacular, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah, that is gonna be the best.
And that's if there's even an election in 2020, because you know the way that things are escalating in the market right now. I mean, it's very possible that we could already be like at the very beginning, if not the middle, of just the state being completely innovated out of our lives.
I'd say that's a bit optimistic, but definitely close.
Well, look at what's happening right now, like in the market with the global capital markets just fucking bleeding on a daily basis. And then you look at how cryptocurrency is doing. Dash fucking the graph for Dash today is just like a hockey stick. It was a hockey stick graph today.
Damn.
It was ridiculous.
We say the state's going collapse, but then again, look at Cuba. For some reason, that thing's still standing.
It's because the U.S. sanctions are...
just earlier this year, they were proposing basically like doing what China did and establishing few state-run corporations just because of the economic calculation problem. I mean, if Cuba's around by 2020, I'll be surprised.
Aren't they like actually going to recognize private property? Or am I thinking of a
Yeah,
different country?
well, that's the reason they're doing that, because they're like so close to just not being able to sustain themselves anymore. That
the first property they recognize is the vast estates of Castro.
Anyway, like, has anyone found like the number yet? Has anyone?
Property for ye, not for me.
Anyone in the chat got the number, because we seriously got to do this like live while they're live.
Like, what the hell?
Because
all right.
For one thing, it's gonna be fucking hilarious, but yeah, it'll get like the news talking about us and shit.
So apparently, there's no number you call. The way it works is that you go onto their website, telethonforamerica.com. You you write a pledge to vote, which involves putting down your address, your email, your phone number, and your first and last name, and then you submit.
That's not what a telethon is. Gay. They're lying. That's because it's not. That's, they lied
more
to
than
us.
Hillary during a debate. Holy shit!
Because that's not what a telethon is. A telethon is when you call in and you pledge that you're voting on like live TV. That's why it's called a telethon, as in you call with your phone.
Yeah.
Well, the way it's going to, they want to try to do this is, I don't know, they're going to try to solicit your email with a whole bunch of political bullcrap from Comedy Central. Yeah, how's that spam sound?
Everybody, don't sign up. Don't pledge, because you're just like save your email the trouble of being spammed a bunch of fucking political propaganda.
Yeah, I mean, I have the thing muted on my end, so people on my stream are seeing it. At least on the YouTube page. It's a very meta stream right now. It's a stream watching a stream. But yeah, I have the thing open on my phone, and yeah, it wants you to... Why do they need your home address? Do I just like give my... Say I live in 123 Example Street on Pennsylvania.
You live at 6969 Fuck You Lane.
Or I can just like, I live at 3200 Pennsylvania Avenue, Washington, D.C.
Why would you sign up if you're not going to be able to call in and fuck with them?
Well, I think that's the whole point of this, so that we can't screw with them. I mean, the whole thing is just like, pledge to vote and be entered for a chance to receive a call from our celebrity phone bank.
Look, their icon is a phone. They know what telethon means. They're fucking... That's... stupid, man. What the fuck?
You're controlling the fucking calls.
I just like your voice is like, yeah, it's just stupid. Like, you couldn't come up like a better like term just to like say how bad it is.
I mean, there's nothing else that we can really say. This whole thing is just so absurd and ridiculous. They disabled the chat for their own live stream on their channel. They're currently at 173 likes, 173 dislikes, and their viewership is hovering around like 425.
Oh my goodness, we're missing good opportunity.
I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, like, we didn't miss the opportunity because we went like hell to try to figure out how to get a call. But yeah, it shows on the stream. It's like, pledge to vote at telethonforamerica.com, and a celebrity may call you. Celebrity being Amy Schumer. Yeah, this is just in general. I don't think this is going to work. Sadly, we'll have to find some other streams to raid.
Yeah, that I fucking when I heard that there was gonna be a telethon, as in, you know, you actually call them in live. I thought that was too good to be true. Because yeah, I totally was just gonna say a bunch of racist shit.
To be fair, I think that every other person on the right and their mothers would have the same idea. So
yeah.
Are there any commie channels that live stream?
I'm sure there'll be several. We'll just have to look around and basically cause trouble on those streams.
Can we host the election coverage on my channel tomorrow? Because I'm making a pretty long video and it's not going to be done by tomorrow.
Sure, why not?
I can record a thing.
Because I got the ability to stream back since I don't have any strikes on my channel.
All right, yeah, we can do that.
If not, then we can stream on here. Like, I may not be able to encode, but.
All right. Well, I can just I don't know, record something on my end. Well, anyways, I think that's going to be the end of this stream. Unless I don't know, there's more anyone want to do?
I am dying of the desert. It's grown plants, and I'm dying.
Well, everybody pray for Hoplu because he's clearly dying in the desert, even though it's cold as hell where I am.
Yeah, it's cold in the desert now. That's why all the plants are back.
Huh.
Hold on, let me. There's a link I'm gonna get from Discord. I'm gonna post in chat. But so I was explaining this in our Discord. Okay, let's see, where is it? Let's see, Discord. Where's the link? Where is it?
I was gonna go post this.
That's the wrong channel. But so that video that Esso made recently about XBL Spartan motherfucker, whoever that guy was. Yeah, so
we're still on stream, so I don't know if we'd need to talk about that. So, anyways, yeah, everybody, thank you for stopping by. We'll do another stream. We'll do live election coverage tomorrow.
Probably on Filthy Heretics channel, but it might be on mine. So stick around for either case.
Yep, stay tuned. See ya. Bye.
Actually, wait. I'll make highlights of it afterwards.